Hello everyone, it's Melanie here. I hope you're all having an amazing week wherever you are. I'm excited today. I wanted to come on and chat about storytelling because that's something that I am super passionate about. And I know for many of you that are looking to be able to share your own story, whether it's personally, your business, or organization, it's storytelling is something that it's something that it's really good for all of us to be able to do. And hey, everybody that's joining in, I was on live on TV this morning, and I was chatting around storytelling, and I wanted to come on and just elaborate a little bit more on what I was asked at the time, and be able to just share with you some three key things that you can be able to start putting into your own stories that you're going to be able to share. And let me know in the comments as well around these questions. So number one, it is in the text around why is storytelling important? So let me know in the comments what you feel storytelling is important. And what I like to share around storytelling is that it's so important no matter what you do, whether you're in business or in an organization, really being able to connect with people is through storytelling. And it's really about sharing conversations with people, sharing experiences with people. And it's so important because if we don't have those types of conversations with people, we don't share experiences, we don't talk about ourselves, and we don't talk about the people that we work with and sharing their stories, it's harder for people to connect and relate to you because they don't feel a connection. There's no relatability with you. So it takes a lot longer to grow that connection. So let me know in the comments why you believe that storytelling is important, because it is fundamental and it's such a foundation to how we communicate with people. And we forget all the time that we're constantly sharing stories with people all the time. But suddenly, when we're faced with speaking to camera, speaking to an audience, or speaking to a group of people, and somebody says, right, we need to start putting stories in, people go, oh, how do I do that? And we forget that we do it all the time. So that leads me on to question number two that I want to talk about is the common problems that people make around storytelling is that people overthink it. People forget that it's something that we naturally do all the time, but suddenly when we're put in a situation where we need to share it, is that as if something switches off in our brain and we suddenly go, how do we do this? And the other common mistake is really about not planning ahead of time, not having a look at who your audience is, not looking at speaking their language. So a lot of the times then people then waffle, people don't get to the point. They then share stories that actually aren't relatable to that audience. So really the common mistakes is not knowing who your audience is, not knowing who your audience is that you're going to speak to, and then having to think about what parts of your stories will you share? How long do you have to share that part of what you're speaking about? So those are some real common problems and mistakes that people make. Let me know in the comments if there's any other that spring to your mind around, or people that you've heard and it's maybe been it's really put you off. What's something around those stories that you have seen that you do not want to do yourself? Because again, that's another key thing around learning, is that if we know what we see in other people and we think, gosh, I never want to be doing that, then it helps you to be able to think about when you need to be sharing stories. The other one as well around problems that I hear a lot from people is around, oh, I don't have a story to share, or I don't have a story like yours. And that's right, because we all have different stories. We're all so unique. Or people say, oh, I don't think that my story is of value, like there's nothing really to share. And that's not true, because everybody has a story of some form. and it's your story, and people need to hear it, whether you believe that it's not this big, massive, dramatic or transformational story. There's parts of your story that people need to hear, and it's just around your journey of when you got started, what happened to get you started, what did you do, how did you do it, and where are you now? So again, it's just not overthinking that, and that's some of the common problems around it. People don't believe that they have a story, because again, we see so many stories online. We watch movies, we watch all of these things, and we think, oh, I don't have something like that. And you don't, and that's okay, because what you have to offer is what your audience needs. Because if you'd watched, I did a video a few weeks ago around are you an everyday person talking to everyday people? So if you're an everyday person talking to an everyday person, to people, then your stories are valuable. Your stories need to be heard by your everyday people. And everyday people have a story of their own, and it doesn't need to be a Hollywood movie story. So again, those are some of the common problems that I see that people have, and I really say that because I want you to really reflect on that for yourself and know that your story is valuable and people do need to hear it. And even if it's just one person that hears it and goes, oh my God, I really needed to hear that story. I needed to know that you know how I feel. I can now connect and relate to you. And it doesn't have to be hundreds of people that connect with you and relate to you. Sometimes it's just that one person that we can really help to make a difference in the world. So third one is what makes a story relatable? So people ask me all the time, well, how do I make my story relatable to my audience? Well, again, let's go back to key number one, is around knowing who your audience is. So once you know who they are each time you're speaking to them, then you can then look at the timeline of your life and go, what parts of my journey would be relatable to those people? So that's how you start to make it relatable. You then want to bring in maybe some challenges, some obstacles that you've had, how you've overcome them, how did you feel at the time. So bringing in things around emotional language of saying that you felt really frustrated by something, overwhelmed, upset, sad, angry, whatever it is. What did you do to then flip those emotions and then be able to change a lot of what you are now doing because of that? So that's how we start to make that relatable, is by thinking of the emotions. How did you feel? How did you act? What happened? And then how did you change them? Or you might be in the process of changing them. So what are you doing right now to change those? Because we're always working on ourselves, we're always changing, and it's really important to listen to your audience, ask them questions, and then you can start to think about what part of your story might be relatable to that person that you want to be able to relate to them. So it really is key around listening more to people rather than jumping in and going, I'm going to just share my story, and then it's not relatable to the person, or you've told them your entire life story and they actually only needed a little snippet of that story. So the more that we can listen to people, the more we can find out what their needs and wants are, and then you can think of what part of your story or journey is going to be relatable to that person or that group of people. So that's really that starting point of it. And I'm just looking at notes around what I was speaking on this morning and having a look at other people who are sharing stories online. What brands are sharing stories online that you feel like you connect to? And what's about how you're connecting using your five senses? What's something that you're connecting with them with your senses? And then thinking, okay, if I can relate to that, how could I then adopt that into my own story and how I deliver and how I communicate that message with people? So I wanted to jump on and just share a little bit more and some tips around storytelling, because I know it's something for a lot of people that you're working on, and I really want to be able to help people move forward with being confident around your speaking, confident around your storytelling, and really know that what you have, the journey that you've been on, is so valuable to one person out there. One person, every time you speak, needs to hear that story so that they can then go on and make a difference in their life, and then they can in turn make differences in more lives as well, because we can't do this just by ourselves. We need more people to be able to share more things around ourselves so that they can help more people, and then we can really help transform so many people's lives just by sharing stories. So go out there, start to piece some of those things together, start to put your stories together and go out there and share them. And if anybody wants to reach out to me and wants a little bit more help with that, or you want to do it on a video, record it, send it to me, and I can have a look for you, then please do so. But I believe in you, so go out there and start to really share those stories that I know that you have deep inside of you that's going to be able to help other people. So have a great day wherever you are, and tune in, and I will see you all again on here very soon. Bye for now.